practicing with all you girls now, so I think we can start to ramp it up a bit. Today we're going to start looking at building some upper body strength. Aha, here she is. Has she come on here? So we're going to look at building upper body strength with a view to preparing for crow. Now, maybe all of you have crow in your practice anyway. Perhaps some of you have never tried it, but nothing to be frightened of. We won't be doing the full pose today, but we're looking at all the things we can do to build up to it, because it's just one of those very satisfying postures. Morning, Emma. Hooray, you're with us. It's just one of those very satisfying postures that if and when you've mastered it, or even, you know, the journey towards mastering it is beneficial in itself. So I thought we'd have a look at that and take it from there and see what we can get. So as always, take it at your own pace. Don't go beyond your edges of where you're comfortable. If anything hurts or you don't feel comfortable doing it, come back to what we were doing previously, and we'll build up from there. Okay, right, without further ado, we're going to start in child's pose today, which is an unusual one. So we're going to do pranayama later in the practice. So I want you to choose your favorite version of child's pose. It can be wide-legged child's pose. It can be traditional with your arms behind you. You can have arms out in front, but I just want you to be able to come to a place of stillness where we can settle into our breath. Maybe you want to do child's pose with a block under your bum. Entirely your call, but I'd like you to be in this forward fold with foreheads down, so you can rest with your head on a block or a cushion or whatever. So using this time to just see how you feel this morning. We're starting in an unusual way. There might be the urge to fidget. Obviously, do what you need to do to be comfortable. So bringing the attention and the awareness within. And just tune into what sounds you can hear at this moment. Start with far away sounds. Maybe you're aware of traffic or noises outside. As soon as you've found a sound, don't attach any story to it. Try and find another. Just move on. So we're just noticing sounds at the moment. And then trying to find a sound that's a little bit closer, maybe within your home. Perhaps you can hear other people moving about, the central heating or hot water, clocks ticking. So we're just working our way through these layers of sound that surround us. And then bring your attention within the room and sounds that are very close by. Maybe you're not aware of anything. Until you settle on the sound of your own breath. So noticing how you're breathing today, where the breath is moving your body while you're in this very restrictive position, bringing your attention to your belly breath. Feeling the rise and fall, or rather the fall and the rise while you're in this position. And perhaps bringing your attention to your back body. See if you're aware of your rib cage moving at the back of your body. The part that is uppermost. Bringing your attention to your shoulders, maybe adjusting your shoulders this way and that. Just trying to
release any tension, especially if you have your arms in front of you. Let your arms be fairly passive in this, so let your forearms support you on the mat. Noticing how your neck feels in this position. Try and visualize the length of your spine here, all the way from your crown down to your tail. And then moving from the bottom of your spine, going sideways and considering how your hips feel this morning. So we're in full flexion of the hips here at the moment. We can't possibly flex them any further. Like closed hinges at the moment, just noticing if you're carrying any tension here. Breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 2, and then exhaling for a count of 4. Just for a few rounds of breath, just to bring some control to the breath here. And then just extending the exhale by 1 count. So we're still breathing in for 4 and holding for 2, but exhaling for 5. And then dropping any control of the breath here. We will return to pranayama later in the practice. But bringing your awareness to your legs and to the sensations that you might be feeling now that we've been in this position for a few minutes now. And slowly and mindfully coming up so that you are on all 4s. So maybe moving any props that you had in to help you. Just bring yourself to all 4s and let the sensations return to your legs here for a moment. Just noticing how it feels to have released the hips from their fully flexed state. So we're just glancing down between the thumbs. The hands are spread wide. We're just noticing how our bodies feel in this position. And then starting with a little cat-cow movement, so tucking the chin right into the chest as we become active in the arms, pushing the mat away, really creating some space between the shoulder blades here. And then slowly reversing that direction as we start to drop the belly, chin comes forward. We dip into the lower back. Really send the hips high here, but remain strong in the shoulders. Just holding it here. Bring your awareness to your thighs and see if you can get the sensation that you're trying to drag your thighs apart. So we're just getting a bit of engagement in the quad muscles here. And then slowly releasing all that tension everywhere. Let's take the chin back in again. Pushing the ground away, really engaging through the shoulder girdle, tucking the chin right in towards the chest. And then last time, let's bring the chin forwards. And come to a neutral position. So while you're in this neutral position, just have a little play with what you feel your body might like to do, what might make it feel nice, maybe having a little waggle from side to side, maybe doing washing machine type movements where you're circling through. You have a play in your own body and see what feels quite nice at the moment, what movements feel releasing. I just need to give my nose a quick blow, excuse me. And then coming to a place of stillness here, placing wrists beneath shoulders, knees beneath hips, and looking straight down towards and between our thumbs. So we've got nice long cervical spine here. We're going to take the left leg away long. So balls of the foot go on the mat, and we're just going to move forward and back to start stretching from the plantar fascia in the left foot into the Achilles, into the calf muscle, and into the hamstring. So we're starting to work and create a little bit of warmth into the left leg here. Just bringing body weight forward and then back, forward and then back. And then come into stillness with our heels spiked away from us towards the back of the mat. So we've got full engagement in that hamstring without losing any of that integrity. We're going to lift that leg up. So heel is leading the way. Our body weight has shifted into both hands and one knee. And then retaining that structure that we've created, looking down at the thumbs, we're going to reach away with the right hand. So we're balancing on right knee and left hand. So when you stretch away, imagine that you're going to shake somebody's hand. So palm is facing towards the midline. And then slowly and carefully, I want your palm and your knee to touch the mat at the same time. Just taking a little movement, whatever feels nice here, waggle from side to side maybe. And then coming back to stillness and stretching away with the right leg now, and just moving forward and back, working from the foot into the ankle, into the calf, into the hamstring. So just working through this movement and appreciating the chain of events that are going on. You can see how damage in just one area affects everything else. It has a knock-on. It literally does have a chain reaction. So keeping everything nice and mobile will help support each and all of the areas that we're working on. So then coming to stillness with that heel spiked away. Body weight is forward into the hands here. Let's slowly lift that right leg. So don't be tempted to go too high. We don't have to go very high at all to make this effective, as long as the foot is active. And then we're going to stretch away with the left hand. So imagine that handshake. Just tune into the sensations. We are actually balancing here in balancing cat. Maybe you're having a bit of a wobble. Just really looking down towards your right thumb. And then slowly and mindfully bringing palm and knee back in to touch the mat. And then pushing yourself back into child's position, maybe taking wide leg child's position here and stretching the fingertips far away. Let's really get active in the shoulders now. So reaching away with your fingers, almost clawing, as though you're trying to creep your fingers towards the top of the mat. You'll feel that engagement in the shoulders here. And take care, Tina, with yours. Just listen to your body. If it's too much for one shoulder, let's keep everything equal and back out with both shoulders. And that's the case for any injury or impingement. You're better off keeping movements equal rather than just strengthening on one good side. So just paying attention to the body here. And then from here, just resting the forearms down, bringing the body weight slightly forward, but we're going to bring the knees in together so that they're about hip width apart. And we're going to take puppy pose here. So puppy pose, we're on our knees and our forearms. So our bums are kind of high in the air. If you don't find it comfortable to put your head down on the mat here, maybe just bringing your block to a place between your arms so you can put your head on the block. But if you're okay, just put your head on the mat. And then bring your hands together in prayer. So you need to hinge on your elbows. Hands are in prayer behind your head. We're just going to take a few breaths here. So forearms are either side of the head here. Palms are together behind the neck. Hips are high, and hopefully you can feel a nice stretch and engagement from the flexion in the hips into your oblique muscles in your abs. Just taking a moment, see how things feel here. Making sure you are still breathing. And then maybe just rocking back very slightly, bringing your body weight back, maybe only a few centimeters, just until you feel a bit more engagement into your triceps here. So all we're doing is moving back from our elbows. Our hands are still in prayer, moving our hips back just slightly, and you should feel quite a strong engagement in the triceps here. We're just going to sit with this for a few breaths and make sure that you are breathing here. It shouldn't hurt, but you should find your edge here. Should feel reasonably strong. And then very slowly bringing the hands apart, bringing the forearms back down to the mat, and bringing yourself back up into puppy pose. So in puppy pose, our body weight is into our forearms. I'd say it's more into our front body than into our knees. Just taking a moment here to recalibrate. And then slowly walking the hands up until you're back up into tabletop position. Just take a moment here, take whatever movement feels nice again. So I'm really encouraging you to find what your body might find a nice counter posture here, maybe just wiggling from side to side and starting to look towards each ankle as you do so. We're just mobilizing here whilst we strengthen the upper body. And then slowly coming back down onto your forearms. I'm sure many of you will know how to do chaturanga. This is half chaturanga that we're going to explore now. So I just want you to walk your knees back a little bit. And this is chest, knees, and chin are on the mat. So we've got this weird kind of not very attractive looking posture where our bums are still in the air. So this is half chaturanga. So you don't need to linger here. From there, we just flatten our bodies onto the mat. Take a moment looking down directly at the mat and pushing up into Sphinx pose. So let's push ourselves back and just have a look at that one more time. So we're on hands and knees. We're in a slightly elongated version of that. And as we come down, we're bending into our elbows that are winging directly back towards our body. So they're not going out sideways. And as they do so, we're sliding our bodies forward. So chin, chest, knees and hands are on the floor, bums in the air. As soon as you're there, slide those legs away from underneath you until you're flat. And then gently push up into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, we've got our elbows underneath our armpits, looking directly down at our thumbs as we rest here in this little back bend. And let's just take a waggle from hip to hip here, just ease it all out. So with every intense flexion or extension that we're doing, we're building in something that will counter that. And then bring one forearm parallel with the top of the mat and then the other, and just lower your head down onto your piled hands. So you're just creating a little pillow. Turning the feet in towards each other. Let's just take a moment in crocodile pose, maybe waggling from hip to hip here. And then leaving the right arm where it is, parallel with the top of the mat, maybe bringing it in towards the body a little. Bend into the left knee, and we're going to reach round with the left hand to grab the foot. Okay, so this is half bow pose. So looking down directly at the forearm that's still on the mat, we're going to push the back of the left foot into the palm of the left hand as we try and ease our front body off the mat as well as our thigh. So we're applying a bit of pressure here. We're pushing that foot into the hand, holding the tension there, so it should feel quite strong in the quads on the left leg. And slowly lower that leg, release that foot. Bring the left hand round and take a moment on your forearms here. Just have a little waggle from side to side. So again, taking it really easy. If you're feeling anything in your lower backs that doesn't feel great about the poses that we're doing here, just bend into that leg and get, you don't need to take it any further than that. If you can get your hand to your foot, that is perfect. You're still getting a good old quad stretch, and that's good enough. You don't need to take it into the back bend. So now let's switch to the other side. So bringing the left forearm in a little bit closer to the body, let's bend into the right knee and just send the right hand behind to find the foot there. Really set yourselves up before you go anywhere. So both hips are pressing into the mat here. We're looking down at the forearm, so we've got that lovely length in our cervical spine. And then just start to apply some pressure. So we're pushing the foot into the hand. With the hand, we're really engaging into the shoulders. So we feel quite strong here in this half bow pose. The right thigh will lift off the mat. Just breathing here, find your breath. And then slowly release that thigh down to the mat, release the foot. And bring both forearms back to the front and take a moment here. So again, maybe roll from hip to hip on the front here. Just taking a moment. I just need to blow my nose again. And then coming to stillness here, I'm sure you've figured out where we're going with this. Taking both hands behind you here, resting your chin lightly on the mat, trying to just keep your gaze downwards. That will keep your neck in the right position. Bending into left leg and right leg, and just reaching behind, seeing if you can catch your feet. If you can't, it's good enough just to catch your leg in. So you've got something, anything that you can hold on to that will allow a little bit of tension. But if you can grab hold of both feet, that's where we want to be. So before we go into the back bend, just consider both thighs being parallel on the mat. Really engage in the shoulder blades here and squeeze them together. We want them to be fully active, so you're opening the front body. And then as we start to press the feet into the hands, raise the front body off the mat, but keep your gaze down. We'll keep your neck's nice and long, lifting the feet as high as you can. I'm just going to have a look at you and see what's going on. Beautiful. Really nice bow poses going on here. So just tune into your breath here. Come down a notch if you need to. This isn't an endurance test. We're just holding this back bend here. We're stretching into the quadriceps and the upper body at the same time. And then very slowly lower those thighs back down to the mat. Release the feet, lay them down, bring forearms back to the front, and rest your head on your hands and take a little waggle from side to side. And then very slowly bringing the hands in underneath the armpits, looking straight down at the mat, really squeezing the shoulder blades together here before you go anywhere. Engagement in the tops of the feet, tops of the thighs, pubic bone. Let's just push ourselves up into a very relaxed kind of cobra here. So we're strong in the arms, just encouraging the back muscles to do a little bit of work, and then lower down again. So before we do that again, I just want you to consider where your elbows are. They should be hugged in, winged in, and they should be touching your rib cage. So that's the position we want them in. We want elbows heading directly for your heels, so not out to the sides. So keeping that awareness with where the elbows need to be, we're slowly going to rise again. This will feel very strong in the triceps, which is where I want you to feel this. Just glancing down, this isn't how high can you go. I just want you to feel that engagement in your triceps. We're building strength in the upper body. And then slowly lower again. Notice what's happening with your breath. Perhaps the heat is starting to build in your body, remembering that we're keeping the breath within, so breathing in and out through the nose. And one last time, let's wing those elbows right in towards the body. Really try and hug your rib cage with the elbows, looking directly down. Let's raise up. So we're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, on an exhale, down we go. Ooh. And then just lay your arms down your side. Take whatever movement feels nice here. Maybe flicking from ankle to ankle, so you're rolling, you're internally and externally rotating your hips here, just letting your legs waggle. And then slowly pushing into one hand and then the other. Let's bring ourselves all the way back to tabletop. Walk the hands in towards the knees. Tuck the toes here, everybody's favorite position. And just walk the hands to the tops of the thighs, and let's find ourselves here in Thunderbolt pose or Vajrasana. So we've got every toe making contact with the mat here. We're nice and upright in our posture. If you find this incredibly difficult, come down and take some of the body weight into your hands. But if you can tolerate this stretch into your feet, you'll be doing yourself some massive favors. So just taking a moment here, let's bring our hands behind our backs, clasp them, and slowly raise up. So squeezing those shoulder blades together, really feeling the opening in the front body here, chin is tucked. Beautiful, beautiful stretch. And then slowly bring the arms back down, bring the hands in front, and let's give those feet a little bit of a waggle and a pat on the mat to ease them out. We're going to do that one more time because it's good for you. So tucking all the toes, making sure that even that little toe is making contact with the mat. That means that you've got your weight spread evenly through the foot. Slowly walk the hands up to the thighs. Let's just take a moment here, tucking the chin right in. So you've got this lovely upright posture. And then let's come up onto high knees. So we're still tucked here. And let's take our left hand round towards our left heel. If you can't get there, don't worry about it. It's just in the general direction. You can just reach your fingertips away. But what we're doing, we're just getting a nice twist in the upper body here. We're looking over that left shoulder. And we actually now have our hips in extension. Where we had them in full flexion earlier, doing that child's pose for a few minutes, we've now gone exactly the opposite way. So we've got our hips in extension, we've got a nice spinal twist going on here. And then slowly bringing that arm back round to the side of the body and looking front. Taking a break on the feet here if you need to, giving them a little dash. If you don't need to, let's stay where we are. And turn towards the right heel with the right hand. So maybe we're just taking the arm in the general direction. Maybe we're actually reaching it. No right or wrong. And then looking over the right shoulder. So just seeing how we are here. And then back to center. And relief is at hand. Coming down onto the hands and knees. Lift yourself off your feet and give them a good old pat. Beautiful.
Right, now the work begins. We are going to slowly, tucking our feet, walking our hands towards our knees, rolling into our feet. So we're staying for a moment in this kind of crouchy position where we're on the balls of our feet here. And then looking down at our toes, slowly start to straighten the legs, but we are going to keep them bent here. Just straighten your legs enough so that your belly or your torso is resting on your thighs. Let's just take a moment here to examine how maybe our toes need some more colour on them. Maybe we need to take that gel off. Maybe we need a good pedicure. Just noticing how all the feet are resting here. And then tucking the chin right in, keeping the legs bent. Really send your hips high. You will feel an engagement in the hamstrings that is just as effective as doing a straight-legged forward fold. So I want you to take those hips high until you feel that engagement from your hamstrings into your glutes. And then slowly, let's start to peel the torso off the legs. Tuck the chin right in. And we're going to come all the way up to standing, leaving that chin tucked until the very last minute. And then when we get to the top, looping the shoulders round and back and coming to Tadasana. Now, I think we're all at the back of our mats. Let's work our way forward. Now would be a good time to shed any layers because we're going to start moving soon. I promised you energizing, and energizing you shall get. So, feet are about hip width apart. I'm just going to adjust my camera a bit so that you haven't got a faceless body. Let's have a look. That's a bit better. Right, so feet are about hip width apart. Just set yourself up for a moment here. So we're firmly grounded in the feet. Toes are lifted and spread. Hips are above ankles, maybe tucking a little bit. Shoulders are rolled up, round, back and down. Palms are very slightly facing forwards, chin is tucked. Let's just take a moment here in Tadasana to feel that we are strong and stable, and yet we are still balanced here. If you close your eyes just for a few breaths, you'll feel that your body is indeed working hard just to keep you in stillness here. Lots of subtle movements going on to keep you stable. And then slowly opening the eyes again. I need to move my mat or I'm going to hit the window. On an inhale, let's bring our arms all the way up. Just take a moment here, let the shoulders drop down. Maybe you've had them up by your ears, drop them down. And then as we bring our arms out to the sides, we're going to start hinging at the hips. Heading down towards the floor, so bending into the knees, remembering that little movement we just did where we're sending our hips high and our torsos are on our thighs here. This is actually a much more comfortable forward fold with all the benefits without straining anything in the lower back, and it ensures that we are stretching the hamstrings and not the back. So taking a moment here, looking in and behind and through your knees. And then bringing the hands to the shins or leaving fingertips on the mat. We're just going to lift ourselves into a halfway lift. So imagine that we're trying to get a flat back. We want to look like a figure 7. We're looking directly forward and in front slightly. So again, we're keeping that engagement in the hamstrings. Send the hips back. And then fold again by softly bending into the knees, resting the torso. And then from here, let's take one foot back, then the other foot back into downward facing dog. So this is our first dog of the day, pushing away from the hands. Let's slowly pedal through the feet. Just done some work on mobilizing that so they shouldn't feel too stiff. Taking a moment here, really trying to send your chest back towards your thighs. And now let's find stillness. Send the hips up high, suck the abs in. Chest is towards the thighs. And then looking towards the hands,
we're going to lower to our knees and we're going to do the half chaturanga. So untuck the toes, bring the body weight forward. We're winging the elbows in, chest comes to the floor, chin comes to the floor, bum is in the air. And then we're going to slide the legs away and come up into a baby cobra. Then from here, we're pushing our heels back, tuck the toes, back into downward facing dog, looking towards the hands and either walking up in baby steps towards the hands, which is absolutely fine, or you can step forward with one foot, step forward with the other foot into forward fold. So however many steps it takes you to get to the front, that's absolutely fine. Once we're there, slowly roll up. All the way up to the top, loop the shoulders round and back. So that's one. We really did that in slow motion. We're going to start to not speed things up rapidly, but there's going to be less explanation and more movement. So we're just going to work through the paces, adding a little bit each time. So if you can, try and work with your breath, up on an inhale, down on an exhale, remembering to keep the breath going at all times. So we're back in Tadasana, feet are slightly about hip width apart. If you're not sure where that is, take a little jump and you will land. It's rare that you'll land with a really wide stance. And then on an inhale, let's bring the arms up. Inhale to rise. Exhale to forward fold. Remember with the knees bent. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back with right leg. Step back with left leg. Lower to knees. Chin, chest, down to the mat, elbows winging in, into baby cobra. Exhale, pushing back, tuck the toes, up into downward facing dog. 5 breaths. So take a moment to set the dog up here. Don't worry, we're going to keep repeating this. You will get the hang of it. I know it seems though we've suddenly sped things up. So hips are high, tummy sucked in, reaching away with the hands. And then looking towards the hands, we're either going to walk, hop, step or jump, right foot in, left foot in, forward fold. Then arms come out to the side as we come all the way up to the top. Hands together in prayer and then down through the front body. Well done. Let's do that one more time. So inhale, hands come up. Exhale to forward fold, generously bending into the legs, sending the hips high. Inhale, halfway lift, so really looking ahead here, elongating that spine. Exhale to forward fold, step back right leg, step back left leg, down to knees, down to chest, down to chin, into our staff pose, and then sliding forward into baby cobra. Tuck the toes, let's push back. Downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So each time we're trying to fine tune what we've got going on in our dog here. Despite what you might have seen, read or heard, it is not obligatory for you to get your heels down. It's more important that your spine is very long here. So you need to send your hips high, really tuck tummy in, and then looking towards the hands, which is where we want to go. Everybody, if you haven't yet tried it, we're going to try step through. So stepping forward. If you don't get as high as your hand, get to where you get to, and then ease that foot along with the other hand. And then step forward with the left hand, forward fold, left foot, forward fold. Then arms come out to the side as we come all the way up to the top. Hands join together and then they come down the centre body. Good job. Okay, we're going to add something now. So inhale to rise. Exhale to fold with legs bent. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back with right foot. Keeping heel lifted, foot facing forwards, bending into the left knee, we're going to come up to a high lunge. So left knee is generously bent. If you've got the wobbles here, move your left foot to the outside edge of your mat. It will help stabilize you. Then once you're there, really tuck your tummy in. And let's take the arms up. So we're in a high lunge at the moment. And then let's take a twist so that we're looking to our left-hand side. So both arms are stretched away here. Just take a moment, really push away with that left heel. Arms come up to center as we bring our bodies front again. Exhale, let's take the hands back down towards the foot. Step back with that left foot, downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So downward facing dog has become our resting pose. Perhaps it still feels quite active, so taking a moment here. And then looking towards the hands, we're going to step forward with our right foot, taking however many steps that takes. Stepping forward with our left foot and forward fold. Slowly, as we rise, bringing the arms out to the side to join together overhead and back down the middle. Well done, let's go again. Arms come up to the top. As we swan dive down into our forward fold, knees bent. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Left foot steps back into a long stance, remembering you might need to adjust the width of your feet here, and then coming up into a high lunge on this side. So maybe you need to wriggle your right foot to the right side of the mat. Once you're there, let's take the arms up, see how that feels. And then let's take a twist towards the right. Maybe this will feel quite different this side. Remembering just to keep that knee bent, the left heel is driving the way. And then slowly bringing both arms up to center as we come back to face forward. Both hands come down onto the mat. Step back with the right foot into downward facing dog for 5 breaths. So once again, let's find something to work on. Down dog, perhaps it's where your shoulders are. Making sure your hands are spread like starfish and you're pressing into the fleshy bits between thumb and forefinger, sending your hips high. And then looking towards your feet. Hop, step or jump. Maybe this is the time to try a little jump. So look to where you're going. Crouching back a little bit like a crouching tiger. And then just spring forward between your hands into your forward fold. Take a moment here, and then as we rise, arms come up to the side, all the way up to the top. And down in prayer. Whew, how are we all doing? We're all right? Right, so let's go one more time with this piece of work. So inhaling, arms up to the top. Exhaling, bending our knees as we come down to forward fold. Inhale to rise into a halfway lift. Exhale, let's step back with the right leg really long and lay the right knee down. Coming up so that we're in a kneeling position here. And bringing the arms up overhead, joining in prayer, and then taking a twist so that we're bringing our right elbow over our left thigh. Once we're set up, maybe this is strong enough for you. Maybe you want to take that right arm down so it stays on the outside of the thigh and the left arm comes straight up. Or maybe, if you're nice and set up here, you can tuck the toes of the right foot, stretch that right leg away. So we're in a long, low lunge, really spiking away with that right heel. This is the ultimate pose to where we're headed for. So if you can tolerate this, it's a good position to be in. So taking a few breaths here, looking at that
left elbow, and slowly bringing head and neck round to center. Hands come back down to the mat. And we're going to take that left foot back into downward facing dog. Just taking a few breaths here, pushing away with the shoulders, pedaling with the feet maybe, coming to stillness, looking towards the hands, and hop, step or jump to the front of the mat. Into forward fold, then inhaling all the way up. Back down center. Right, last time because we need to do the other side now. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, bending the knees as we swan dive all the way down. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. This time we're going to step back with the left foot, so it's a nice long lunge. Lower the knee, untuck the toes, and coming up, bringing the arms up on an inhale. And then with our hands in prayer, let's take a twist towards the right. Bring the left elbow to hook on the outside of the right knee. So we're using a bit of opposing force here. So the right knee is tracking out to push against the elbow, and the elbow is pushing it in. If this is as far as you want to go, that's fine. Take a look over your right shoulder. If you want a bit more, tuck the toes of the back foot and lift and really drive away with that heel. Squeeze into the glutes here. Really tune in with your breath. Maybe you don't want your hands in prayer. Maybe you want to bring the left arm down and right arm up. Entirely up to you. And then slowly head and neck come forward. Whoops. Both hands come down, step back with the right leg into downward facing dog, 5 breaths. So either taking complete stillness here or adjusting, trying to find where you feel your best version of downward facing dog is. Tuning in with the breath. And then looking towards the hands, hop, step or jump to the front of the mat, forward fold. Slowly, as we start to come up, arms come out to the side, all the way up to the top. And back down in prayer until we're back into Tadasana. And arms come down. Well done, everyone. We're all right. Oh, excuse me, I need to just baby schnozzle. Right, if you've got your blocks handy, we're just going to have a go at half moon pose. So I haven't got my block, but I'm going to use my cushion. And I'm going to set it towards the right hand corner of my mat. So when I'm standing, hang on, I'm standing with my block just in front of my right foot here. So standing in Tadasana, we're going to take the left leg behind, just step behind so you're up on your toes here, and bring your weight into your right foot and leg. So just take a moment here, maybe squeezing into the torso, and as we lift that left leg, we're going to start hinging down. Do whatever you feel is right with your arms. So we're in a balance here, we're strengthening that standing leg, and we are tilting forwards until we can bring our right hand to the block. So when you're at the block, just take a moment here, and I want you to angle your left toes of the outstretched leg towards the midline. That ensures that your leg hasn't externally rotated, or the hip rather, so both hips are facing down. So we're looking down at that arm, and then I want you to draw the left arm all the way up. So imagine, let me just take a little look at you. Good job, everyone. Imagine, if you can, that we're trying to get a right angle between our left leg and our left arm. So we want to create this lovely shape. Beautiful. If you are well balanced here, the next progression of this stage
is to turn your head and look at the palm so that we get a twist in the upper body. If that's too much, go back to where you were balanced. If you need to shift the block so that it's in the middle of the mat and you can hold on with both hands, that's absolutely fine. We're still strengthening the standing leg. And then slowly lower that leg down and come up to standing. Good effort, everyone. I know it's a bit wobbly at times, isn't it? If the twist pushes you over the edge, don't do it. It's better off for you just to get this feeling that you're in this beautiful right angled position, even if it means you're down on both hands. And then you can gradually build in the other bit. You might find that you're better on one side than the other, but the point is that we're building strength. So let's have a go on the other side. So adjusting your block either to the side of your left foot or right in the middle of your mat if you think you might need it for balance. So setting yourself up first, taking the right leg behind you. Lift and spread the toes, really tuck your pelvis in here. And as we start to tilt, let's take the right leg back, active in the foot, until we find our block here. And just take a moment to set yourself up. Turn those toes in towards the left. And just see how the balance is on this side. Maybe you need to adjust your block. If and when you're ready, take the right arm up. My balance is not good today, so I think I'm just going to stay looking down. But if you're set up, just turn your head to look at the hand. Excellent work here. You've got some lovely shapes going on. And then slowly lowering down. Emma, for you, I would use 2 books. Not because you're doing it wrong. The reason we use a block, if you go away and Google this move later and just look at all the images, you will see thousands of pictures of people doing half moon. And the nicest looking ones by far, not that we're going for what it looks like, but it's when everything is in a nice long line and you can see that my arm and my leg is the same length. Now, not everybody's arms and legs are the same length. And if, like me, you've got short arms, to do it without a block, I'm very definitely biased towards all my body weight being tilted forwards to support me. So all we're doing is bringing the ground up. So if you know you've got short arms or you can't make that right angle position, get something that brings the floor up, and it just makes it feel nicer. It makes it look nicer too, but that's not really what we're after. We're after it feeling proper. So that would be my recommendation. Try it with a couple of different things and see what suits you best. Right, let's stop all that malarkey now and just come into your mat. I'm going to face you so you can see what's going on. Taking your feet quite wide here, we're going to start bringing ourselves down into a squat. Now you will probably need to adjust where your feet go. I want you to crouch down onto one foot and then swing round to the other. Just going to do a few of these little sort of crab type movements. Just easing into it. And then just come into stillness for a minute, and you'll perhaps get the feeling of maybe you need to adjust your feet. I want you to be able to sit upright. So if it means that you're like this, you need to adjust your feet, or you need something under your heels. You don't have to have your heels flat, but you do need to be upright. So just being upright where your hands can come together in prayer, and you can use your elbows to push your knees apart. Lovely. So just taking a moment here, seeing what it feels like with our hips being nice and open. Carry a lot of emotional energy in our hips, so it's nice to be able to let it go. So imagining, if you will, that we're starting to be in the position that we need to be in for crow. Do any of you have crow in your practice? Oh, good. So we're learning this together. I'm pretty rubbish at crow, I'll be honest with you. Just because I'm a yoga teacher doesn't mean I can do it all. I only teach the stuff I know how to do. But crow I'm not very good at, but it's good to work towards it.
So now bringing your hands down to the floor and just having a little wiggle again. I want you to come to where you are now standing. And we're going to come down to a wide-legged squat. So turning your feet out at 10 to 2. Hands come together in prayer as we slowly lower down. So we're coming down into a fairly low squat. Heels are down, so only come down as far as you can go with your heels down. Drop your hands so they're right at heart center here. And then as we rise, let's take the arms up. So everything straightens on the inhale on up. And then we're going to come down and arms come down again. So we're really building strength into the lower legs, pushing back up again. So bringing your attention to your quads while you're doing this. So really squeezing the quads. Let's go down again. Sorry, I meant to say glutes, not your quads. That would be quite difficult. Any of you who managed to engage your quads, well done. Then when we're down, really squeeze your glutes, your bum muscles, and let's go up. Ooh, that's quite tough on the old thigh muscles. And then bring the arms all the way down. Right, now we are slowly going to make our way to the mat. And we are going to have a look at crow from this version. See which muscles need to be engaged. So, bringing both knees in towards the chest and take both knees really wide. And then bring your heels together. Flex into the feet. And then bringing the hands together in prayer, bring your elbows inside your knees and push them away. While you're pushing your knees away with your elbows, I want you to squeeze very hard into the outer edges of the arms with your knees and thighs. So now you're getting a feeling. At the same time, I want you to try, it will be impossible, but bring your awareness to your spine and try and flatten it out. So this is the engagement of all the muscles required for crow. And just release for a minute. And then take your knees really wide again, heels together, hands are together. So we've got these two opposing forces really squashed down with your spine, which engages your abs. Push those knees together, knees push the arms in together. And release. And just take a moment there and rock from side to side. So you've had a little feel of what it might feel like. And then finally, let's just roll over until we're on all fours again. And if you've got a cushion or a book or a block or anything you want, we're just going to explore the final version of this. Most people's fears about crow are falling flat on their face. And that's a good fear to have, in my opinion. So taking your arms, you'll have to play with where you want your hands to be, but about shoulder width apart. Really spread your hands, remembering that this is an arm balance at the end of the day. Your hands will take the place of your feet. And then come up onto your toes and squat with your heels together. Perhaps it will help if I face you. So we're kind of in this very undignified looking thing, but heels are together here. And you're kind of as high up onto your feet as you can be. I'll turn the other way again. So ultimately, what we want to be able to do is bring our body weight forward. So we're bending into our upper arms here, resting our knees on the backs of our arms, on our triceps. I'm just going to show you with one leg at a time here. We can just lift one foot up and we get the sense of all the muscles that are at work. We can place that one down and then we can take the other one up. Ultimately, we're going to bring both of them up. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today. My balance isn't so great. But all the time, our attention and our focus where we're looking is forward. Our body weight needs to be forward whilst we're pushing back. So just give it a little try. Don't take it the full way if it's too frightening, but it's about setting your hands up, coming up into that high squat,
bending into the elbows slightly and just leaning forward. Really lead away with your chin here. If that's far enough, leave it here for today, but just get the sense of what muscles are being involved here, where you would need to go from here. So maybe it's just lifting one foot off, then the other foot. So think about where you're looking. So you're creating a counterbalance and then coming back down again. And the other way, if you really want to play with this pose, is to set yourself up against a wall. I'm not going to do it here, but you set yourself up against a wall and you put your head on a cushion and then you use the wall to push away with your feet. Sadly, I haven't got a wall, I've got a glass door, so it doesn't seem like a very good idea. But you can just have a little play with it. It does require a lot of upper body strength, which is why it's quite a nice one. You can really, something where there are lots of elements where we can build into it. And all the time we're gaining physically. Doesn't matter if we don't get to the actual final posture. Oh, Linda's really going for it. But it's all about the journey on the way to getting there. So I thought it'd be quite nice for us to have a little play with that today. We might revisit that. I'm out of breath. I'm so unfit at the moment. So let's bring ourselves now down to a seated position onto our block or a cushion or anything. If you want to put a layer on, do. I thought I'd do this bit at the end here. So we've done a fair bit of work today. We've done a lot of up and down. We've been crunched into compressed shapes. We've lengthened out. We've done back bends. We've done forward folds. We've done balancing with our legs, balancing with our hands. So let's just bring our awareness within. Lower your gaze or shut your eyes if you can. And let's just tune into what sensations are going on in our bodies right now. There's possibly quite a lot going on. Perhaps you're aware of a buzz of energy. So just letting any tension, the concentration, let it all go. Let's do a little body scan, see if we can release. So just softening in the brow and the eyelids and the jaw, unclenching the teeth. Let both shoulders be really heavy here. Draw them down towards the floor. Hands are softly resting on your knees or laying in your lap. Fingertips are soft. Sitting bones are heavy. Weight is evenly distributed. So just sitting really heavy here. And become aware of all the parts of your body that are being supported by the surface beneath you. And release into that surface. Let yourself be fully supported here. Let's think about any tension being held in the thighs, or the knees, or the shins, or the feet. Really have a sense of letting go here. Now bring your attention to your spine. Let's create space between each and every vertebra. Grow a little taller. Tuck that chin in. And let's become aware of our breath into the belly. Just observing the rise and fall. And thinking about the side body, the flaring of the rib cage, visualizing the muscles between the ribs, expanding and contracting.
Taking our awareness to our shoulders once more, making sure they're heavy and drawn down. And then thinking about the collarbone area, the lungs that sit just beneath the collarbones. And if you're not aware of the sensation of breathing into those parts of the lungs, just try and visualize the entire lung filling with air from bottom to top. Now we're going to go back to our 4-2 breathing, but this time we're going to do a little square breathing. So I want you to imagine for every count of 4, we're traveling along one side of a square, and each time we reach a corner, we're holding for 2. So we'll inhale for 4, get to a corner, hold for 2, exhale for 4, down to the next corner, hold for 2. Inhale for 4, coming along another long edge, hold for 2, and then inhale all the way up until we reach a corner. So we're going to do that for a few rounds of breath. You do it in your own count, but just visualize drawing that square. Imagine that you've got a little etch-a-sketch type thing. As we're drawing that line, we're either inhaling or exhaling, and in every corner, we're retaining either the exhale or the inhale. And now slowly letting go of any control of the breath. Let your breath find its natural rhythm. And just do a little check-in with yourself. How are you feeling? Has any tension crept in? Perhaps one of the shoulders has lifted slightly. Perhaps some tension has crept into the hands or the feet or the jaw. Just making sure you've totally let go. And if you can, with your eyes still closed, I want you to bring yourself off whatever you're sitting on and bring yourself to your favorite position for Shavasana. So making your way down onto the mat, maybe you want to take a supported Shavasana today with a cushion or something underneath your sacrum so that you're in a supported bridge. Or maybe you just want to lay in traditional Shavasana with ankles rolled gently out to the sides, palms upturned. By all means, if you need to make yourself warm before you settle in, do that. And we're going to have a few minutes in Shavasana, so I'm going to put some music on. And while you're just settling, try and flatten your spine into the mat as best you can, becoming heavy in the shoulders, in the hips, in the sacrum. And just letting your practice go here. We've done quite a bit of work this morning, just really yield into the surface beneath you. So bringing your attention back to your breath now. And perhaps bringing a little bit of movement to your fingers and toes, giving them a little wiggle. Perhaps circling into the ankles and the wrists. And then slowly bringing one knee in towards the chest and then the other. And having a little roll from side to side. Before slowly coming down to rest on your right hand side. Maybe using your right arm as a pillow for your head. Just take your time getting here, no rush. Let that blood pressure just equalize there. And then very slowly bringing yourself up to a seated position, no rush. If you can, keeping your eyes gently closed. And then joining your hands at your heart center, just applying a little bit of pressure here, seeing how the arms feel, the shoulders, perhaps give them a little squeeze. Bring some lift and length to your spine. And then dropping the chin onto the chest here. Let's take a small bow of acknowledgement for the time that you've set aside for your practice this morning to unite your mind, your body and your breath. To join others in this practice together. And hopefully you've set yourselves up for a lovely day ahead. Just remember how truly amazing your bodies are and look after them today. Namaste.
Namaste.
Are we all right?
That was great, Gabby. That was quite hard work. The crow is definitely one for work in progress.